Call Utility Safety and Environment Committee meeting together. Approval of the utility meeting for September the 12th, 2022. Can I get the approval?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Simmons. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Corzine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposes? Have the same right. The first thing on the agenda tonight is the matter of authorizing the mayor to apply for the water supply revolving loan account WSRLA agreement for lead and galvanized water service line. Mr. Jacob, Mr. Jacob is here.
Through the chair. We applied and came to council beginning of the year for a lead service line replacement program, phase 3. EPA changed their guidelines late this summer, so we're coming again. The council, we're going to ask for $1 million grant loan from the EPA. 54% of that is a grant, 46% is a match from the city, finance 0% loan. And this is for lead service line replacement in Elyria and galvanized water lines. We figure that it'll cost, excuse me, the EPA will kick in $540,000, the city $460,000. There is money in water pumping's budget to pay cash, but we have to finance it. That's the rule. And I talked to the auditor. We're going to encumber the money, and when the first payment comes due, we're going to pay it off.
Any questions from the committee? We want you to know that finance passed this on Tuesday, which was yesterday. They already passed it. Seeing no questions? Are you requesting? Oh, yes. Oh, they requested emergency also. Okay, thank you. I would like to read the ordinance. All of this?
You read that first. Yeah, read that please, and then
The water supply revolving loan account, WSRLA agreement for replacement of lead and galvanized service line. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept, if offered, the said loan agreement and or grant through the Ohio EPA. Emergency clause request so the application can be submitted ASAP. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
second.
It has been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Go back. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry. Call for the question.
There's no discussion?
Call for the question.
Call for the question.
One of you needs to call, just call for question if there's no further discussion.
Question.
Okay, question's been called.
Question's been called. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Have the same right.
Right, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Number 3 on your agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into an agreement for lead and galvanized water service line replacement project. Mr. Jacob.
Through you, Madam Chair. How the program works is we advertise for bids and get a low bid. That's submitted with the application to the EPA. Once they award us, what they're gonna award us, the $540,000, then we enter into an agreement with the contractor to get the work done. But we don't enter into the contract until we're awarded the money.
So, Mr. Jacobs, this is, so has the money already been allocated from your department or
Yep.
this?
Madam Chair, the matching fund is already in our budget, but it's just we're waiting for the government share.
Finance has already approved this.
And this is also being requested to be an emergency. This is also being requested to be an emergency.
Oh, this one is being requested also to be an emergency. I will read the committee report. The replacement of lead and galvanized service line, public and private lines throughout the city. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for replacement of said lines, emergency request. Can I get a motion from the committee?
So moved.
It has been moved and second by Mrs. Simmons. Is there a discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have the same right. The next item on the agenda, the matter of applying for and accepting a TLCI grant for the TLCI Phase 5 Downtown Project. Engineer McKillop.
Good evening, through you, Madam Chair. This item did pass through Finance last night. Last Friday, October 7th, the city submitted an application for the TLCI, which stands for Transportation for Livable Communities Initiative, through NOACA. And the project is the Downtown Revitalization Phase 5. It's a continuation of the work that's already been done throughout the downtown. Phase 5 will include replacing additional Ohio Edison lights with new LED luminaires and decorative poles in areas where we haven't replaced them so far. We're also going to install the red stamped concrete crosswalks at East and 2nd Street intersection, install a couple bike racks, a couple benches, and a couple areas of sidewalks or pavers to eliminate trip hazards. The preliminary estimate for this phase is $603,600. The city of Elyria does fall into the disadvantaged community category, so therefore the match would be waived. Right now, we're requesting the full amount of the $603,600 with no match. But because there's limited amount of funds through NOACA for this grant funding pot, in the event that we get partial funding, we may need to look at decreasing the scope of our project or coming back to council and allocating some money to do additional work using city funds.
Discussion? No. I will read your committee report, and it's also passed in Finance on Tuesday. We have considered the matter of authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept an ATLCI grant, Transportation for Livable Community Initiative, for TLCI Phase 5 project. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept the said grant. Emergency clause has been requested. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
It has been moved in second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the installation of traffic delineators in order to meet the requirement of a quiet zone. Engineer McKillop.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. The city has been asked to participate in the establishment of a quiet zone, at first specifically for West Ridge Road. Now, let me explain what a quiet zone is. Quiet zone is an area along railroad tracks where the trains do not blow their horns. North Ridgeville has established quiet zones. Vermillion has established quiet zones. Amherst Township, Bromhelm Township, City of Elyria, we do not. So this started by a couple of residents in Amherst that wanted to spearhead the installation of quiet zones through Amherst, and after looking at it, they decided that the Amherst Township needed to be involved as well. And when you look at their areas, that comes all the way over to our West Ridge at-grade train crossing. As a city, we decided that it would be a good opportunity, something that we should look into, we should investigate. With the assistance of a consultant named Timothy Dietrich from Quiet Zone Consulting. He was hired by the city of Amherst. He helped us review our crossings to determine whether or not they would fit the requirements needed to make it a quiet zone. With this help,
I'm sorry, through you, Madam Chair, if you want to turn your screens on, Ms. McKillop has some information. And I don't know if people at home will be able to see that as well, but.
no problem.
Everyone else can see it. Sorry about that.
So, through this partnership with City of Amherst, Amherst Township, Brownhelm Township, Elyria Township, because West Ridge Road crossing, we're only on the south side, so Elyria Township's on the north side, because that's a county road that involves Lorain County Engineer's Office. We can look at extending the quiet zone into Elyria. Now, once we have one crossing there at West Ridge, well, let's look at Murray Ridge, and then let's look at Olive Street and Abbey Road. In order to meet the schedule for the committee that's working on the Amherst Township quiet zone, we've moved ahead and installed what we call quick curb delineators, similar to what we have on East Broad Street there near State Route 57. We have installed those on West Ridge that meets the requirement for that crossing to be considered for a quiet zone. As you know, train horns sound they're very loud, up to 110, even louder decibels. So extending that quiet zone throughout the city all the way to our last at-grade crossing, which would be Abbey Road, that would be a pretty big benefit to our residents here in the city. What we're doing tonight is, besides discussion, is looking at the establishment of a quiet zone throughout the entire city. Now, as I said, Westridge will be part of the quiet zone involved with Amherst Township and City of Amherst. Murray Ridge, Olive, and Abbey will be its own quiet zone in partnership with Elyria Township, because they have the north side of Murray Ridge crossing. Once each community establishes a quiet zone, so as part of the package that ends up going to the federal government, Federal Railroad Administration, it's basically a document that just states that the city of Elyria has established a quiet zone through the city. Once the federal government approves that, then we, the city, can go ahead and we'll have signs at each crossing that'll say no train horns. We'll have those unbagged, and the railroad will have the requirement of installing signs along their tracks so that they know that they don't have to blow their horns as they go through the city. Are there any questions?
Through you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
In discussions with my office, is there anything that engineering requires, because there's nothing that we have found on our end, that doesn't mean there isn't anything, as far as legislation needed in order to make this happen?
The consultant will prepare a letter that will need to be signed by the public authority, stating that all the work was performed in order to meet the requirements of establishing a quiet zone.
Okay, so through you, Madam Chair, essentially, once, and these money, the money's already in the budget to make these changes, is that
Yes.
correct? And some of them are already
Yes.
in process, or maybe all of them are in process. So essentially, once we get everything, or all our ducks in a row, as far as the signage, the barriers, et cetera, then in accordance with what the consultant is saying, then there's just going to need to be some sort of documentation.
Yes.
I'm guessing from the Safety Service Director, but that's so basically you're just
Yeah.
letting the committee know where we're at with this then.
Yes, as long as there's
good.
nothing
Okay.
on there, there's nothing else on my end.
I have a question. So, at these crossings that going into the quiet zone, of course, I know Murray Ridge does have a gate. West Ridge does have a gate,
Yes.
and of course, Abbey Road. So the gates will stay in place. It's just the signage that's going to be coming up to state that you will not hear a train coming.
That, along with
Okay.
100 feet of delineators, the poles that stick up out of the pavement down the center line for 100 feet from the gate back. So the premise is that cars that are waiting for, at the gate will not be able to get into the oncoming traffic lane to go around the gate. So they are installed on Westridge right now.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Mr. Corbin?
Through you, Madam Chair, are these quiet, are there hours that this is in effect for, or is it 24 hours a day?
24/7.
And have you talked to the other communities when the trains disobey this? And I know North Ridgeville, years ago, the Ohio Revised Code stated that trains cannot block an intersection for more than 5 minutes. And I know the North Ridgeville mayor, a female at that time, she pulled them into court, in the mayor's court or whatever. Is there a penalty if they, do we give them a warning and then we fine them?
I don't believe there's a penalty. I'm not sure what we would do. Now, as the train operator, you know, under regular, normal circumstances, they should not be blowing their horns. If the train operator believes that there's an emergency, for example, if there's just happens to be a vehicle sitting on the tracks, then of course, you know, they will want to, you know, blow their horns, think, you know, hopefully something like that doesn't happen. But, so there are circumstances where, that may happen, but under regular circumstances, they should not be blowing their horns. If they do, I'm not really sure if there is recourse. I mean, all we're doing is establishing a quiet zone. There's no legal, you know, issue, and as we, Director Deary stated, if there's no legislation, I'm not sure if there's just, you know, any recourse. That would be a legal question.
So we don't need a committee report, we're just doing the discussion, this is already in process.
It's already in process.
All right, thank you.
And Mrs. McKillop, if the consultant has any sort of example or template letter, you can get to our office when we get to that point, that would be helpful.
I've requested one, I have not received
Awesome.
it yet.
Okay. I mean, it's not the, you know, end all be all, but it certainly won't hurt. Thanks.
Thank you.
Number 6 on your agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with DLZ, Inc. for engineering SBCS for the Wynwood Siphon Improvement Project. Mrs. McKillop.
Really quick exhibit. I just thought it'd be easier to visually see it than try to explain it. All right, so this engineering department and wastewater is looking to enter into a contract with DLZ for design work for what we're calling the Windward Siphon Improvement Project. Now, the Windward Siphon is on our wastewater infrastructure system. It's a siphon, and basically it's a sewer that has a belly in it. And it starts on Windward Drive, and there's a ravine to the west of Windward Drive, so the siphon goes under the ravine, up and over to Gulf Road. You can see it starts over in this area. There's the belly right in this area, and it comes up over here in this area. We also have a small pump station right in this area that basically pumps local sewage to the siphon. And what we're doing with this consultant is redesigning, coming up with alternatives. Basically, the siphon it's old. We need to either add redundancy or replace it, come up with other options, but we need to do work in that area because we did find in the past year that the siphon has scaling, scaling inside the pipe, which is starting to decrease the capacity of it. So we've had it cleaned out, but it's just a matter of time that, we're going to need to do more work. So we want to get DLZ under contract. We plan on doing the project starting next year, in 2023, and we've already, we're looking at getting a loan through the state revolving loan fund for this project.
Mrs. McKillop, my question is, are you going to move the location? Is that a possibility? Since it's not performing well, do you move it or you just repair what you have already in place? We
will probably not repair what's existing. We will either replace it replace or add another. We're definitely installing something in that area. Now, whether it's going to be in that exact area, that'll be one of the options that our consultant will look at, is to see if there's other area, you know, another configuration that can be done. We've also talked about an aerial sewer, you know, right, you know, as the sewer has a belly in it, you know, is it possible to actually put a, you know, a gravity-fed sewer to some extent through there that wouldn't require such a drastic elevation change in the sewer. So that's what the consultant will be tasked with, to give us some alternatives, and then once we get alternatives, we'll be able to decide what's the best course of action.
Any questions from the committee? And then I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the Wynwood Siphon Improvement Project, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with DLZ Inc. for professional engineering service for the said improvement project. Funds have been appropriated in the 2022 budget. Discussion? Seeing none? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
It has been moved and properly second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Number seven, the matter of the 2023 streets resurfacing, and it's just for discussion today. Just for discussion. Yeah. I have before me our improvements of streets of this past year, and I know it always seems it's not enough. We get 2 or 3 streets at the most, and thank God for issue 6. Before, I remember we only had like 1 street at a time. Now we do at least get 2 to 3 streets. So I tell you, Ward 7, you have so many. But now it's the time to start looking at your streets and call them out so we can make the adjustment of the numbers. If it was a 2 before with the weather and time passing, it could be a 1.5 or a 1 by now. So, yes.
How about negative numbers?
Well, negative, you're creating a new number?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do have a pretty good handle on the ones.
Yes. What's that, Mr. Jack?
I do have a pretty good handle on some of them that should be rated 1 versus 2 or 3, in some cases, at least in my mind. I invite anybody to go out and try to drive them if they want to.
Mm-hmm. Well, excuse me, sorry, Ms. McKillop, go ahead.
I just want to add, through you, Madam Chair,
Yes.
piggybacking on Mr. Sarah's comment right then, I'd like to offer to all council members a ride-along with one of my staff members to view the streets in their ward or elsewhere, to get our view, you know, through our eyes, and we can, you know, vice versa, see what, you know, the council person's talking about when they look at their streets, and thinking that, you know, by adding another level of review, that maybe this process may, I think it might help. And definitely if we can get this process started sooner, it'll help with staff as far as getting estimates assigned to the streets for review by council members, and, we can get design started, as soon as we can on streets that we know that council members definitely want to get done, next year.
So when are they available?
Through you,
Madam Chair.
yes.
So when is your staff available?
We can schedule it whenever.
Okay.
Okay.
That is a
We're
super
open.
great idea, super great idea.
Yeah,
of-
that is.
of riding along with, the council people. So, I know, I welcome it, and I'm sure everyone else will welcome it, and it will help us make picking the streets a little easier when we already in contact with the engineer that they know how we feel and how we view the streets versus how they view the streets. 'Cause when I look at, well, I won't even call the name of the street 'cause they want it done so bad, but anyway, yeah, Main Street's really quick, yes. So, that's a wonderful idea, and so we're gonna pass it along, and I'm gonna fault everybody who doesn't take advantage of riding along with a staff member, and, even before the winter come along, we have a chance, most of us, through the week, we could take care of it, and maybe, I don't know how you can set that with those that work, but we welcome it. I welcome it, and it's a wonderful idea. Thank you so much. Stuff doing Myrtle Ridge. Councilwoman Mitchell wanted you to know that, she would like to discuss doing Myrtle Ridge from Lowell Street to Russia Road. And of course, it involves the township and the county.
Yes, that one will take some coordination, but, the condition of that is getting a little on the rough side, so, we'll definitely look at that one.
Already. All right.
Okay.
Any more discussion? At this time, we see none. Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that we adjourn this meeting of Wednesday, October the 13th, 2022. Oh, today's the 12th?
Yeah.
I'm moving along, yes, the 12th, October 12th. Good night. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Don't let them leave with your